Okay, so we know about Charles Darwin and his theory of natural selection, but there was still something missing from our understanding of how evolution works. So let's talk about an Augustinian monk.
So the person we're looking at is Gregor Mendel, who you probably heard about in high school biology. He used artificial selection on pea plants. Artificial selection is the identification by humans of desirable traits in plants and animals, and then the subsequent steps that those humans take to enhance and perpetuate those traits in the future generations. Just take dog breeds like French bulldogs, for example. Through his experiments, Mendel was able to observe phenotypes, which are the detectable or visible expressions of an organism's genotype. In his case, things like the color of the pea pod or its shape, the flower position and stem length, and the seed shape and color. While running his experiments, he discovered the concepts of dominant and recessive characteristics in organisms, which eventually led later scientists to discover genes, a sequence of DNA that provides coding information for the construction of proteins. This understanding of genes set us up for modern synthesis, which accounted for both microevolution, which is the changes in the frequency of a gene or allele in an interbreeding population, and macroevolution, which are the changes that result in the emergence of a new species, how the similarities and differences between species, as well as the phylogenetic relationships with other taxa, led to changes that result in the emergence of a new species. Basically, microevolution brings about changes at the species level in a single population, where macroevolution brings about changes that are above the species level. An example of microevolution would be bacterial strains that have acquired antibiotic resistance, whereas an example of macroevolution would be the loss of limbs in snakes and lizards. So moving on from modern synthesis, we run into a guy called Theodosis Dobzhansky, which I'm sure I mispronounced. Anyways, he came onto the scene with his research on speciation, which is the process by which new genetically distinct species evolve. He demonstrated that over time, random mutations, natural selection, and genetic drift, which are random changes in gene frequencies, cause members of the same population to develop unique mutations in their genes, and these changes make them genetically different from other populations, eventually leading to the formation of a new species. All of these scientific milestones that we've covered give us a comprehensive understanding of how evolution shapes life's diversity on Earth, from tiny genetic changes to the emergence of a new species.